Hello, my name is Elam, and I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Warsaw's Faculty of Economic Sciences, specializing in the economics of aging. First, I would like to thank the organizers for providing this opportunity to share my work and for making it possible to overcome travel barriers to participate in this conference. Second, admittedly, my paper has developed since it was originally accepted. While the initial focus was broader, my research now zeroes in on the effect of career breaks as a particular aspect of mobility. Although the title has also evolved to better reflect this, I've retained the original title here to avoid any confusion with any of the conference material. To begin, one of the primary concerns for working age individuals is finding and maintaining employment, especially during life events that can impact their careers. This concern is particularly relevant when considering that nearly half of a typical European's life is spent at work. The continent is also marked by diverse occupational profiles, shaped by varying employment conditions, family and health provisions, and the rise of non-standard employment such as temporary and part-time work. While existing studies have examined the direct impact of these different occupational statuses on individual well-being, they have largely overlooked any cumulative effects. Why are cumulative effects a concern? Because fewer modern occupational profiles are defined by single, open-ended employment, as labor market transitions are frequent and widespread. Transitions are widespread as they reflect natural career progressions, shifts in the nature of work, changes in preferences, or efforts to correct undesirable initial labor market decisions. Their frequency is also influenced by cyclical, structural, or institutional changes, such as the adjustment to retirement age seen in Europe from the 1970s to the 1990s. Therefore, I build on studies such as those by Warendorf, Zeller, and Harper to explore the longer-term effects of diverse occupational trajectories. The study utilizes data from the SHARE survey, which currently spans 9 waves and focuses on individuals aged 50 plus, along with their partners of various ages. It is currently conducted across 28 European countries and Israel, encompassing both 18 non-communist and 11 post-communist nations. Wave 3 and 7 of SHARE, collectively referred to as SHARE Life, collected retrospective data on a wide range of life experiences. The employment history modules of SHARE Life capture year-to-year individual labor market dynamics, allowing for grouping of similar occupational profiles, which we'll get to in a moment. The analyzed sample excludes histories with experiences such as labor or concentration camps, which may introduce endogeneity and bias in estimation. It also retains individuals aged 65 and older to cover the entire prime working years. That is, when respondents are between the ages of 25 and 65 years old. After applying these restrictions, the final sample includes nearly 40,000 respondents. Now, similar to previous studies, recognition of the importance of temporal context leads this study to employ sequence analysis. While the methodology has been readily adopted in life sciences, its use in social sciences is relatively new and therefore scarce. The methodology compares individual histories to an ideal history based on age-dependent transition rates and groups them based on their quantified similarity. The ideal history here is one of continuous long-term employment. To accommodate potentially different transition rates among respondents from non- and post-communist countries, as well as differences across genders among the country groupings, The process is conducted independently for each of the four groupings, that is, post-communist males and females and non-communist males and females. The sequence analysis results in a career disruption indicator, which I later use in a two-level multi-level model of the general form given here, where the two levels are individual and country levels. Multi-level models of this kind address potential institutional interactions that may undermine independence in the model. The multi-level model is implemented separately for male and female respondents. The separate gender models are expected to account for lifelong inequalities in wealth accumulation, unpaid domestic and care work, as well as women overrepresentation among the poor in developing countries. The potentially endogenous variables controlled for include age, incomes, labor and marital statuses, levels of education, and residential locations. Here at the top, I provide an excerpt of an individual sequence to help you understand the description of the sequences in the table below. The sequences are characterized by substantial variation as evidenced by their Shannon entropy values. From the 38,038 individuals, we find a total of 4,554 work history sequences. 3,506 of these sequences correspond to one respondent each, while the most prevalent sequence is shared by 6,460 respondents. Additionally, individuals are observed to have an average of 2 unique episodes constituted by an average of 2 elements across their working years. Of the 8 analyzed statuses in the sequence, the respondents on average had the longest tenures in long-term employment and retirement, and the least in short-term employment and inactivity. Now, using the probability of transitioning from one status to one of long-term employment based on the share of people who successfully changed from the former to the latter, I generate what is termed as Lesnar dynamic Hamming distances. A simplified representation is given here. This produces the career disruption indicator wherein higher values pertain to less similarity to a history of long-term employment and vice versa. The histograms presented here illustrate the frequency distributions of individuals' occupational profiles in the work history sample. We observed bimodal patterns for male respondents and multimodal ones for their female counterparts. The information behind these patterns is that retirement constitutes the largest proportion of career breaks for men, while women's histories are notably characterized by substantial periods of both homemaking and retirement. Women are further characterized by less time spent in long-term employment and marginally more time spent in inactivity, unemployment, and short-term employment compared to men. The methodology used employs various well-being indicators, including life satisfaction and CASP scores. CASP scores are a composite measure of control, autonomy, self-realization, and pleasure. We also use measures of self-rated health and limitations in instrumental activities of daily living, IADLs. Life satisfaction is measured as an overall ranking of respondents' satisfaction with their lives on a Likert scale from 0 being completely dissatisfied to 10 being completely satisfied with one's life. CASP scores, on the other hand, are derived by summing responses to 12 questions that assess individuals' levels of control, autonomy, self-realization, and pleasure, each measured with 3 questions evaluated as often, sometimes, rarely, or never. The association of career disruptions and well-being are further evaluated in relation to their impact on specific physical health matrices. This includes self-rated health and the incidence of limitations in instrumental activities of daily living. IADLs require heterogeneous abilities for their performance, such as cognitive, motor, and physical function, and limitations performing them are often irreversible. Presented here are the multi-level model results for life satisfaction and CASP across male and female respondents. The analysis includes an empty model to explain the variance distribution across the two levels, and models both with and without career disruption measures, and one with an interaction term. The results show that the variations in life satisfaction and CASP are largely explained by within-country differences across genders. Specifically, the intra-class correlation statistics indicate that countries account for up to 16.4% of the total variance in life satisfaction and up to 24.2% of the variance in CASP. These values are comparable to ones found by Warendorf in a previous study. Additionally, as reported in specification 2, post-communist respondents have life satisfaction and CASP scores that are lower compared to their non-communist country counterparts. These differences are relatively larger for female relative to male respondents. However, for both genders, the differences are moderated by the inclusion of the career disruption measure. What is important to note is that accounting for the indicator reduces the penalty of being a post-communist resident for male respondents, but it increases it for female respondents. Additionally, career breaks during the prime working years are directly and significantly associated with lower well-being, as seen in both life satisfaction and CASP estimates. Finally, the inclusion of the interaction of career disruption with the resident country grouping indicator indicates significant variations in life satisfaction impacts of career breaks among non and post-communist country residents for both male and female respondents. No significant corresponding variation in CASP impacts are observed, although the career breaks persist as significant negative drivers of the well-being measure. As detailed in these additional results, a contrasting general pattern is observed in the relationship of career breaks with both self-rated health and IADLs. While career disruptions reduce the penalties of being a post-communist resident for male respondents across the model of the two health measures, they increase these penalties for female respondents. Additionally, career breaks play a more substantial direct role for male respondents compared to their female counterparts for each of the health outcomes. Finally, these results contrast the well-being effects of career breaks and their varying impact among male and female residents in transition and non-transition countries using standardized outcome variables. The standardization of these outcome variables is meant to read the data of scale effects. The results indicate a greater impact of career breaks on later life self-rated health compared to other well-being matrices for both genders. Moreover, consistent with previously presented findings, non-communist and post-communist differences more often significantly contribute to the effects of career breaks for female respondents compared to their male counterparts. In conclusion, I recognize that labor market engagement constitute a substantial aspect of modern life, influencing wealth, behavior, as well as physical, mental, and overall well being later in life. Therefore, atypical employment forms and the incidence and duration of separation from jobs are also anticipated to impact the welfare of individuals, either directly or indirectly. Therefore, by juxtaposing age dependent occupational situations with the working life trajectory of continuous long term employment, this study seeks to advance understanding of gendered career break penalties. Its finding of varied, non negligible effects of career disruptions on well being highlight the need for context sensitive employment sustainability policies intended to keep incumbents in their jobs. I thank you for your attention and I welcome any questions.